So today we are going to piece out a chicken. One of the quickest, easiest ways you can save money and have a higher quality of chicken is to buy or raise whole chickens and then to piece them out into the different pieces that you need for meals. A whole chicken is great, but you don't want to eat whole chicken all the time. Number one thing, you have to have the right tools and you have to have sharp tools. And after you've sharpened them, you need to make sure that you clean them very well because they could have little bits of metal on them. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the necks off of all of the birds, and we save all the pieces here for stock. Even the pieces that we're not going to eat all go to stock, and the pieces that we eat go into our meals. And you're going to have a heavy cleaver in order to get through this. This is also a really good treat for dogs too if you have dogs. And you're just going to make a clean cut. This is the only time you're going to use the butcher knife, um, but it's an essential tool for what you're doing. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to piece out the legs, and what you want to do is to just cut the skin so that you can have access to that joint. And then once the skin is cut, then you are going to pull them back pretty aggressively in order to pop that joint out so that you can expose it for cutting. It will make it much easier for you to cut this if you have that joint exposed. And make sure you're being careful when you're cutting towards yourself and try to reposition the knife and or the piece so that you're not cutting towards yourself. Also be mindful of where your fingers are because these knives are very sharp. So first leg's done, doing the exact same thing on the second leg, going between that joint and trying to maintain as much of the meat on the top of the thigh there. Um, and then we're putting that aside, and then we're going to move on to the wings. Same concept here. We're going to cut the skin to expose the joint, and then we're going to pull that joint back pretty aggressively so that we can get back in between the joint. Otherwise, you're going to be cutting through the bone, and it's just going to make it much more difficult for you. Also, on the drums, especially on small chickens, you want to make sure that you're maintaining as much of the meat there as possible. I think that I didn't cut it as great as I possibly could, but still, it's better than not having it pieced out. Same thing on the other side, and make sure you expose that joint, that you're cutting away from yourself, that you're mindful of where your fingers are, and then we're just going to get that taken care of. This is a lost art as far as I'm concerned. Most people don't know how to piece out a chicken. They've never bought a whole chicken and pieced it out in their life, so this is a good skill to have to save money. I'm using the butcher scissors here to just cut the back out. I typically do this when I cook a whole chicken anyways to spatchcock it, but I like to keep these for whenever I do stock as well. And then once we have that back out of there, then we can flip it over and start working on the breast meat. Now this is the most fiddly part of it. You're going to want to go straight down the breastbone and then very delicately go down and follow the breastbone and the ribs. I've seen people do this from the top and then go through the bottom, which I'll do on one side here so that you can see. But typically what I do is just keep on falling down that breastbone. And really you're going to want to use, as you get further down, you're going to want to use the tip of the knife and not the length of the knife, just so that you can maintain as much of the chicken tender as possible. And you'll see me do the method here where you flip it over and finish it over on the back. I've done it interchangeably, either way, all from the top or from the front and bottom. You can do whatever comes naturally to you. So if you like tips and tricks like this, or you're interested in slow living and recipes and herbalism, please visit me over on my website. It is at www.fibermaiden.com or anywhere on the internet at fibermaiden. If you prefer short format videos, then you can go ahead and visit me over on TikTok, and I also have a Pinterest. So here I removed that chicken tender, and then I'm removing the skin because I prefer to have my single breasts as skinless. And then we're just going to repeat the process on the other side. Here I'm doing the full top-down method, so you'll see me go in pretty aggressively on the breastbone here, and then use the tip of my knife to get down through to the bottom. If you have any other tips on how to save money and still eat whole foods, then I would be happy to hear your comments, questions, concerns. Please drop them down below. Hit the like and subscribe button if you would like to see more content like this. And I hope that you learned a new skill that will save you and your family some money and hopefully you some time. And I hope that you guys have a good day.